All right, guys, what's going on? What's going on? Welcome in. So, dude, Tyson, obviously, today was a pretty crazy day as far as like storylines, headlines go, right? It's the first day of training camp. Um, but we got Hassan Reddick to talk about. Aaron Rodgers was at camp, which is good positive. It's really only Reddick who isn't there, and that's kind of again the main storyline of the day. And hopefully, we'll get some more answers tomorrow, whether it be during the Saleh press conference, whether it's some more reports or whatever the case may be. But dude, outside of that, man, how's it going?
Well, first of all, my landscaper's going by right now. So if you hear any kind of air blowing, it's going to be my landscaper blowing off the sidewalk. But, dude, I'm excited. First day of training camp. Everybody's reporting. They start practicing tomorrow. Saleh meets the media tomorrow. Aaron Rodgers does. You see all the quotes from Garrett Wilson, stuff like that. But the Reddick story, we got to start from the beginning from this, dude, because I'm not
Yeah,
buying half of this up being generated right now because you have a lot of everybody's reacting to what the stories that are being leaked. That's the Jets side of the story, right? So we don't know Reddick's side of the story, but a lot of it doesn't add up for me. Like, what is your initial thought of him not being here today? Are you surprised? Are you surprised it got this far?
no, no. Well, so I did a video, and as did you. And by the way, I checked it out, dude. It was actually really good. It's kind of funny because you posted it, and then like I posted mine like 5-10 minutes after, and I'm like, damn, we're hitting on like all the same points. Um, but dude, like I feel man, I want to say it was either like 2, 3, or it could have even been 4 weeks ago. It's probably like 3 weeks ago, 3 shows ago. And we were talking about when we were kind of trying to predict when Reddick was going to, come to camp and officially be a Jet and whatnot. And my kind of mindset was 1 week into camp. So not like before, not like the day up, but like give it a week in the training camp, just because I can't see the Jets allowing this to go on where Reddick is getting fined. He's not getting any guaranteed money. This story is just going to continue to get worse and worse, or bigger and bigger as literally as the days go by here. Because it's like, I mean, you literally already go in Schefter's comments or Ian Rappaport's mentions and stuff. It's like LOL Jets, only the Jets, Howie Roseman fleeced Joe Douglas. It's like already, bro, this is day one. So if this continues for another week, 2 weeks, bro, it could get messy. And I just don't understand how this. I feel like this situation could have easily been avoidable.
Let's just start. Let's go way back to the timeline. Let's go all the way back to when this trade first happened. When the Jets reach out to the Eagles and Reddick, you have a conversation with them. At that point, you establish contract parameters. We know you're looking for a contract. We know you have no guaranteed money. What are you looking for? At that point, you have the conversation. And I told you, dude, 6 weeks ago, 7 weeks ago, there was no way in living hell he was going to play this year with no guaranteed money. We talked about this. He's not going to play 14.5 million non-guaranteed after what 27 sacks in the last 2 years, 51 in the last 4 years. He's earned a mega payday. He didn't want to play with the Eagles, his hometown team. He's from Philadelphia, dude.
Yep.
He wasn't happy there because of money. He's gonna come play with the Jets for the same terms. There was no way in the world that was true. So what did Joe Douglas discuss with him at that point to feel comfortable saying, you know what? We feel like they're going to make we have parameters in place for a contract. We can get something done. So when this deal first happened, we talked about this. I'm like, good trade, love the compensation, love the player. A deal get done in a couple of weeks, we'll move on, right? We both assumed, like, you know what, no big deal. Time kept dragging on, dragging on. This is getting kind of strange now. Then
Yep.
he doesn't report to OTAs. Then he doesn't go to mandatory minicamp. And now he's getting to the point where he's getting fined and they can't even waive it. Like, he has to pay these fines now. There's no coming back from this now. Something just seems strange. And what's stranger is the Jets were leaking their story to everybody. Nope, he agreed to these terms. And then what did Hassan Reddick do on social media? Don't believe everything you read on the internet, saying, you know what, that story's not true. Now today, lo and behold, whoa, surprise. The Jets offered him a contract, but he rejected it. Something is weird.
Dude.
It's weird, dude. There's a lot of weird things going on now.
Well, dude, so when that news came out today, it was from Connor Hughes. In that report, it literally said that the New York Jets offered Reddick a deal before the trade.
Yep.
So what I'm kind of confused, I mean, I'm confused about a lot of different things with this whole entire situation because it's just unclear. It's hazy. It's weird. Totally strange, man. Totally strange.
I agree.
We're the only team in the NFL that currently is dealing with something like this. But how is it that the supposed contract offer, which happened the contract pay increase didn't make like news. You know, it's been how long since we acquired Reddick?
Convenient, right?
Supposedly the offer came in that long ago, or
Yep.
came out that long ago. So it's been weeks on end, and we haven't heard anything about it up until the first day of training camp, which is just super weird.
Yeah,
And
but just to stop you real quick though. If this story is true, which the Jets they're kind of backtracking, trying to cover themselves right now, and they're putting a lot of stuff out there. It's only a matter of time for Reddick responds with his team. But Ian, at that point, it seemed like the Jets are trying to make up for the loss of Huff, because a lot of fans are pissed off about the loss of Huff. He got money that wasn't crazy. They didn't make him an offer. All this other stuff, right? At what point did the Jets say, you know what? If we make you an offer then, and he rejects it, they're thinking short term. He's thinking long term. That's opposite end of the spectrum. You're not even close then. If I'm offering you 2 years and I want 5, there's no, at that point, did Joe Douglas say, you know what? This trade's not going to work for us. We can't, this isn't going to be where we want to be. We love the player, but if we can't pay that money, right? Like you could back out, but they made the trade for a reason. Something had it, like, what happened?
Well, that's the big question to me, at least. It's like, well, then why trade for somebody who is literally being traded just because he wants his contract extension, and his current team, the Eagles, wasn't willing to do it.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, like, it almost sounds to me, I mean, there's so many different avenues that you can take it. One interesting point that I feel like is relevant to talk about or bring up here, to me, it seems like the Jets really aren't interested in giving out a long-term deal at the edge position, because we didn't give one to Huff.
Nope.
We're in this current predicament with Reddick. We traded JFM, so clearing more money there. We drafted 2 edge rushers in the first round in McDonald and Johnson, as well as the underrated move that happened right before the Reddick trade, which was the Jets bringing in Jadeveon Clowney.
Mm-hmm.
And then news comes out that Clowney picks the Carolina Panthers. And, no disrespect to Carolina, right? I like what they're building and whatnot, but I'll 100% being honest, when I'm thinking about teams that have better odds of making a deep playoff push, I would like to think that a veteran would probably choose the defensive-led, great resume New York Jets, right? A top defense, they have defensive backs. We all know Ulbrich calling plays. We all know all of this. And then it kind of got me thinking, okay, well, what was different about the Panthers offer compared to maybe what was talked about with the New York Jets? And I looked at the contract, and it was a 2-year deal. So it got me thinking, okay, well, what if the Jets offered something similar, just a 1-year deal, and Clowney wanted that second year of security? So now we're in a position where Clowney's on a 2-year deal. Huff's gone. JFM is gone. Reddick wants an extension. He hasn't gotten it. I think at the end of the day, something has got to give, because again, you just can't keep getting fined $50K a day.
No,
that's crazy, man. And from the Jet side of it, it's gonna, TV, radio, what have you, podcasts, it's gonna keep on being talked about, because it's like, we had a great pass rusher in the building, we just let him go.
Yeah, I mean, you literally make this trade with the assumption that you're getting a deal done and it's not going to be a distraction. Like, you know what you're inheriting. You know the player, you know the contract, you know the terms. You know all of that. And it's the other thing, too. It's like the Jets have to be careful, because you have what? DJ Reed, you have Conklin, you have Michael Carter, you have all these superstars that need to get paid in the next couple years. Like, and the other thing, too, is they don't know what's going to be here next year, right? You know, Aaron Rodgers is going to be here next year. So to me, it's just a very, very weird dynamic that's gotten stranger and stranger. And I find it ridiculously convenient how all these stories are coming out today. Like, oh, no, hold on a second. He never said he was going to play on his current deal. We offer him a new contract. He said no. If he's saying no to contracts before the trade, that's already a red flag. So now your only option is what? So now he's losing money every day, $50,000 a day. What you're going to have to do now is you're going to have to guarantee his whole contract. $14.5 million guaranteed for the year.
Which honestly is not that bad of a situation for the Jets. By the way, shout out to Paul Boyd Green. What's going on, man? I don't know if you're still in the chat. I'm just looking at the comments now, but
Ian, but here's the caveat though. He may say, okay, you want to guarantee the money, $14.5 million for this year. That's fine. I'll show up on the last day of training camp. Like the one problem I have with this too is that when you hear, like, Saleh is going to talk to the media tomorrow, but He wasn't talking to Saleh. He hasn't talked to CJ Mosley. Like, it's not like when Quinn Williams was holding out and not here, you didn't really care. You knew the deal was going to get done. He's already been a Jet in this system. You knew what he's bringing to the table. Reddick doesn't even know the defense. He doesn't know the team, doesn't know the coach. He knows nothing. He's coming in fresh, and you don't even know what kind of shape he's in. Oh, he's a pro. He's a true pro. He's all pro, all this great stuff. You got to be in football shape, man. And things like this make me nervous if this goes into another week, 2 weeks. Then it's like, all right, that's usually when the hamstring injuries happen, the quad injuries happen, the cat, like, because you just it's the physicality of the game, man. You're going from whatever workout you're doing in the gym to full contact practice. Things change, man. And that's why I start getting nervous. So for the next couple of days, not going to sweat it, but it's making me uncomfortable now because I fear a lot of things are going wrong, and the stories just don't line up. Nothing makes sense with this for me. It doesn't. I don't. We've been watching this team a long time, dude. And you know how contracts work in the NFL. We know how trades work. And right now, it seems like a lot of fans are like taking the side of the Jets, like, oh, he's screwing us over. I don't think so. And I tend to support the players in a situation like this because no guaranteed money. Last year of his deal, this is probably the last big contract of his career. He's turning 30 years old with crazy stats, 2 back-to-back Pro Bowls. He wants that mega payday because all the pass rushers are getting, what, $25 million a year, $26 million a year? That's what they're making right now. So at 14.5, he's like, I want 22. And it's justified. Like, he can't be mad at him for it. That's what he's earned. So, I mean, like, are you siding with one side or the other? Are you taking, well, the Jets are right or Reddick is right? Like, who are you taking here?
I mean, I think both sides could have maybe handled it differently. You know, I think, well, the one thing that's tough to kind of decipher is we don't know if these reports are 100% accurate. Not necessarily, you know, not obviously saying anything to do with the reporters, but it's the information that's being relayed. You know what I mean?
The Jets are covering their ass now, man. They're in a win now year where everybody's on the hot seat, and there's a lot of excitement and hoopla around this team where everybody's like, you know what? Super Bowl or bust. And the first day of camp isn't about Aaron Rodgers showing up in an Egypt t-shirt. The first day of camp is, what are the Jets doing with this contract? They look like idiots. So what do? They cover their ass with all these leaked stories, and they're coming out like simultaneously. Brian Costello, Connor Hughes, like all of a sudden, like the dam was broken, man. Everything started coming out. Right? It's like, this is what the Jets do.
Like, if you put yourself in the Jets, so like I mean, it's tough. I don't want to sit here and say like, oh, I'm siding with the team or I'm siding with the player, you know, but I think if you put yourself honestly in Hassan Reddick's shoes and think to yourself, okay, you know, if I show up to practice tomorrow and I get hurt, I'm owed nothing.
That's it.
No guaranteed money.
100%.
And for somebody who is up there in age, and like up there in age as in he's not 21, 22, right, 29. So, you know, like you just alluded to, this could potentially be his last opportunity to cash in of his life in the NFL. So, of course, you don't want to just accept this quick, you know, fine, I'll just go play on the 1 year, $14.25 million deal, which is already mad cheap. Yep. If the Jets, if there was news that comes out tomorrow, right? Schefter puts out a report that the Jets are fully guaranteeing Reddick's deal, 14.25 fully guaranteed. That would be a massive underpay. Yep. That's the reality of the NFL today, with the cap continuing to go up, with the importance of the pass rusher position. It's like, I was looking at the contracts today, like highest paid defensive ends, like / edge rushers. I think Bryce Huff is like, he's not even a top 15 paid edge rusher. He just signed a 3-year deal. So, you know, I highly doubt that Hassan Reddick is asking to be paid as a top 5 guy. I'm not saying I don't necessarily think he should be paid like a top 5 guy, but, you know, I think if the contract was 1 year, $35 million and he had 0 guaranteed, then we might be in a different story, or a different situation where, you know, Reddick is saying fully guarantee my contract, and the Jets are like, you know, that's a lot of money. Then it's a little bit more understandable. But for me, there are things that you can do to get Reddick into camp, whether it's adding incentives and guaranteeing money, whether it's giving him just 1 extra year on the deal, and maybe you can make it high, you know, really, really high, like a high number, if that's what it takes. But it all circles back to why the trade was initially done. You know, if you don't have plans to extend a player that is getting traded because he wants his extension, you just pass. You just move on to the next guy. You just go sign a veteran, or you trade for somebody else if you're content on moving an asset to really upgrading the room. Or I mean, like we lost Huff, we traded for Reddick before the draft.
Yep.
So all I'm saying is, there's multiple options out there, or there were multiple options out there, and this is like the path that the Jets chose to go down, acquire Reddick, and it just kind of seems weird, strange, and not clear.
It's very weird. And now it's like, all right, now we're already here. Day one, not here. After missing OTAs and minicamp, it's like, how do you get this resolved? And the one report from Connor Hughes said they offered him more guaranteed money and to add incentives to make it actually to earn more this year. And he rejected that. So now it's like, you got to kind of read through what everybody's saying here. What exactly will get him in camp and happy? And I'm kind of leading where you're at. It's like, he knows his value. I saw the one thing, I think Ross Tucker was talking about it, because Ross Tucker is like an Eagles guy. And he's like, listen, he goes, if Hassan Reddick was a free agent today, what kind of money would he be getting? He'd be getting over $20 million a year. He would be, because that's the market for a guy like him in a league that covets pass rushers. So that's the kind of money he wants. So where do the Jets have to go to make him happy? Is it, say the 14.2 guaranteed with another $8 or $9 million in incentives and something, and an option for next year? Like, I think they're going to have to crank out some money for this dude. If not, it's going to get ugly. It's going to get drawn out. It's going to become a distraction. And I saw the couple comments like, oh, screw him, we don't need him. Listen, you do need him, because he's a valuable asset to your team. We love Jermaine Johnson. We don't know what Will McDonald is. Will McDonald could take a huge step like Jermaine Johnson did, or he could just be a guy that does okay. This is about having a dominating defense. And I think Reddick plays a big part in that, especially when we talked about what you just did right there. You lost John Franklin Myers. You lost Huff. You lost some talent on the defensive line. I think you need Reddick. I'm not just discarding, like, no, we don't even screw him. No, you actually do need him. Like, this is an all-in year, Super Bowl or bust year. You don't start, chinsing out and cutting corners here. Like, no, you're going to have to pay some money now. You made the big trade. You boasted about how you can get it done. Now you got to get a deal done.
Well, dude, I just don't understand how. I mean, bro, you gotta imagine that the Jets saw a situation like this coming down the pipeline.
You had to,
but the actions, it says otherwise, right?
Yep.
And that's why it's just so frustrating, man. I mean,
we've been talking about it all.
Go ahead.
Question though, I keep thinking about this, because like, what if you're DJ Reed? Right? You're sitting there. DJ Reed has earned a new contract too. And he's been a Jet playing at a Pro Bowl level last year's contract, who's probably earned more money. Michael Carter II probably earned some more money, right? What about those guys? They're probably sitting back watching this too. Like, all right, this is what he's getting. They're going to give him a pay increase to be happy. Where's my pay increase? Like, there's a trickle down effect with all of this, don't you think, or no?
Definitely. I think there's different situations with different players, and also different positions as well. But the point about DJ Reed and Michael Carter, which I think is really interesting, is that if we look back at Joe Douglas's, I guess maybe track record of tendencies on paying or keeping / extending players, you always kind of feel as though it's waiting to the last minute, whether that's letting Robbie Anderson walk, whether that's waiting till last offseason to pay Quinnen Williams. True. Right. And even in that little month or two, Valon, what's up, man? Please, for the love of God, don't ever end this collab. Hey, bro, I appreciate that, man. Thank you. That means a ton. Me and Tyson were actually just talking about before the stream. Like, this is so next week's episode might be pre-recorded, but outside of that, man, we're gonna keep on going to like the end of the season. So and obviously into draft season, free agency. I love doing this. I look forward to it. And it's cool going live a lot more.
Yep. Yeah. Thank you, Val. Definitely appreciate it, man. At 7 o'clock every Tuesday, we'll be cranking them out. So I'm having a blast, man. It's just a lot of fun, and the chat's awesome too. But the thing with DJ Reed though, and you're making the point you're going to exactly what I'm thinking too. DJ Reed's in the same boat as Hassan Reddick, where he had great year on last year's contract, and he's getting older now, where he's probably earning his last big payday, right? Or no?
Yeah. No, I would agree. Well, yeah, I mean, I would agree to a certain extent. I think the argument of corner versus defensive end is maybe a little different. But because I mean, you take a look at some of these contracts that are being thrown around for pass rushers like Brian Burns, like what he just got, Josh Allen, what he just got, Bosa, what he's getting. Both Bosa brothers are getting paid a ton. But what I was going to say before was, again, letting Robbie walk, the Quinn Williams extension taking, everybody knew it was expected, but even just like waiting for all these defensive tackles to sign, it was like Dexter Lawrence and Jeffrey Simmons and whatnot. Like those small bump ups, like the 1 million more, 2 million more. Now it's going to be like a little bit more expensive because it just kept waiting and waiting and waiting. We can talk about Michael Carter being the best, or sorry, not the best, but a top one of the best slot corners in the National Football League. Diamond in the rough signing or a draft pick in the 5th round out of Duke. And contract extension talks haven't even begun. Same thing with DJ Reed, so for me, it's like you kind of the vibe I get is that Douglas really likes to push it, wait to the last minute, and to get that full evaluation, as opposed to maybe trying to get ahead of it and just getting the contract done with. Sometimes it works because that player might not work out or that player might get hurt or something. But then sometimes you're behind the 8 ball and now all of a sudden you owe that player a lot more. Bryce Huff is another example. Just Morgan Moses, another one. Lets Morgan Moses walk for $3 million. Goes and signs a multi-year deal with the Ravens. And now 2 years later, we're trading an asset to bring him back 2 years later in his career. So
but good organizations are proactive and identify those players early and get them locked up before you hit this point. Bryce Huff is a perfect example of that. And we talked about this last year, getting a deal done with Huff last year. Like, be proactive. We talked about Michael Carter earlier in the offseason. Like, you know what? That's the kind of guy you want to keep around. The more he plays and the better he plays, the more money he's going to make, and it's going to bite you in the ass. So it's like you got to, like, as an organization, you got to identify these guys that are your cornerstone guys, are important to you, and you figure out ways to just, find out, get new contracts here. But I don't know, man. This is the precedent going to be established here is going to be really interesting. The reaction is going to be really interesting too, because the Jets are in a predicament now. Because now it's front and center all over New York sports. Because football's back, everything's exciting. It's a bigger story than Aaron Rodgers right now. Nobody cares about Rodgers right now. It's about Reddick not being here. So now it's just, what is it going to cost to get him here? And it will go into, like, will it be a 2-year deal or not? And I'm fascinated to see who flinches here, because every day is $50,000, and another day him not being here with his teammates. So, I mean, what's your point of panic? A week from now?
Panic is in what? Because what's the worst that could happen? Essentially, Reddick just sits out the entire year.
No, the entire training camp. Shows up the last week of training camp. It's like, if I don't have guaranteed money, I'm not practicing either, dude. I'm like, you know what? Week 1, I'll play. That's it, right?
Again, dude, like, if you put yourself honestly and kind of look at the situation objectively from Reddick's perspective, like you said, like, he doesn't know the team, he doesn't know the defense. They didn't draft him. He's not from there. He hasn't, played or signed a contract there before, although it's a great situation for him. And I do think once he suits up for the team, he's going to dominate.
Yep.
But, again, if he wants a contract extension and you aren't in a position, as in the Jets, like, they don't want to give him one, they just don't trade for him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But Chris, you're spot on, bro. Michael Carter II needs to be extended now. And this, it's kind of funny. It's like, I feel like we're in the same position with Michael Carter today that we were with Bryce Huff a year ago.
100%.
Which were Jets fans were just slamming on the table. Can we please re-sign Bryce Huff? He's coming off a great year. He's coming off a great year. He's going to be owed a lot of money if he, continues to play better. Lo and behold, he leads the team in sacks. He's a fantastic pass rusher. And then it's just like, oh, now he's gone. Yep. So, and also, I don't want to run the risk of irritating or pissing off our young players that are guaranteed to be signed. Like Michael Carter is like a no-brainer. Like, you got to bring him back. Sauce Gardner, no-brainer. Garrett Wilson, no-brainer. Bring him back. Big deals. Yep. Don't and look, I'm not an NFL general manager. I'm not at the negotiating table with these guys, but from an optics standpoint, don't try to nickel and dime and try to wait these things out and possibly frustrate the player to where they're like, you know what? No, like, I don't even want to play for you anymore.
And this goes back to what Saleh always said. We want to put our players in a position where they can make the most money they possibly can. Well, you groom this guy in your system. You're watching him flourish. This is the prototypical case of taking care of one of your own. You take care of him. The locker room's like, you know what? He earned it here. Bryce Huff earned it here too. But like everybody's happy for Quinnen Williams. Quinnen Williams earned his stripes as a Jet, earned his money here. He's staying here. But now Michael Carter's in that same boat. Like, if you have to make a choice between Michael Carter and DJ Reed, you go with the younger player, probably a little bit cheaper. I'd go that route. But I would get it done though. I wouldn't waste time with it. Like, it's just you gotta be smart about these kind of things. And I think he does pay the fines. I think he has to, because you can't rescind him. And I don't want to be without him. He's a very good player. Because of a contract dispute, I'm not going to discount what this guy brought to the table, because when the Jets first traded for him, we were all very excited. A dominant, legitimate pass rusher, game-breaking talent, relentless, right? This is a really good player. I mean, I wouldn't want to say, okay, Will McDonald, you got to be Reddick. I don't think he's ready for that right now.
Well, another thing too, it's like, so letting Huff go is one thing. And bro, by the way, I appreciate the $10, man. It truly means a lot. Thank you. But letting Huff go is one thing. But then to go, meet with Jadeveon Clowney, and then you give up a solid ass. It's not like we gave up a 7th round pick in 2027. You know what I mean? We gave up a solid pick here, 3 that could jump to a 2 in 2026. So when that year comes rolling around, it's like, man, it would be really nice to have that pick, especially if we only get 1 year out of Reddick. Like, we're going to be, it's just going to be a tough situation. And also, Reddick is only 29 years old. Would it be the end of the world if the Jets gave him, let's just call it a 3-year contract? Like, not really, man. I mean, he's not 37. He's not, has maybe 1 year left in the tank. Like, I still feel like Reddick can play at a really high level for multiple years here, which is, again, why I was so pumped up when we got him. But then we also trade away John Franklin Myers after the Reddick trade on draft night. So we're down some pass rushers. I know that we got some younger guys on the roster, some UDFAs that are turning some heads and stuff, which is a great sign. But to say all of a sudden like an Eric Watts can fill the shoes of a Hassan Reddick is just it's unfair expectations to put on a young player. Not saying that anybody is doing that, but I think I think either way we would be fine without Reddick, but with Reddick we'd be freaking top 2 defensive football.
Yeah, I mean, he's a great talent, man. Like, he's a legitimate Pro Bowl game-breaking talent, pass rusher that you want on the team. He's here. You make the trade for him, you get it done, and now you have this distraction, which is just crazy. I'm honestly shocked we're here right now. I can't believe we're even talking about this. I thought this had been done like 2 months ago. Like, all right, deal's done, and we move on. Now it's just a matter of the money. And the thing you mentioned, like, what if you give him a 2-year deal? I'm kind of in that boat with most of the players right now. I'm kind of hoping that Aaron Rodgers gives us 2 years. This year, next year. I'm praying for that. We're not getting 3. We get 2 from him. You keep everybody here for 2 years. DJ Reed, keep him back. Get Conklin back next year. Bring the whole band back for this year, next year, and see what we can do. And after that, we're rebuilding. We're going to be starting over because you're going to need a new quarterback, probably need a new coach and everything else, right? So if you have to give him 2 years, it wouldn't bother me. And give him like an option for a 3rd year. Almost like the Philadelphia deal. What did he get? He got 3 years, $45 million there, but it was like most of it was in the first 2 years, and the last year was, you can get creative with your accounting here. Say it's a 3-year deal with mostly 2-year deal with a lot of fluff money. You can do that. Don't care about it. Because the most important thing is get everybody on the field and this team running full speed immediately. That's my concern.
I think another kind of argument that I've seen with the whole, like, why didn't we just keep Bryce Huff versus Reddick is if the Jets go out and give Reddick a 3-year contract, people, again, that argument is, that question stands pat, right? Well, why didn't we just re-sign Huff on the 3-year deal? I think the argument that Douglas, or the point that Douglas has in his back pocket that he can just, say is, well, Reddick is the better pass rusher up to this point. You look at Reddick's pass rushing resume with different defenses in different teams throughout multiple years. As of right now, Reddick is the better pass rusher. But
go ahead. Good. Go.
No, I was just gonna say, but Reddick is not a homegrown guy. Nothing is guaranteed. I think, I don't know, man. I just want to see our guys getting paid, which is why I'm so, like, at the forefront of trying to see Michael Carter getting his contract extension and whatnot. I mean, the free agents are one thing, like the DJ Reeds and Tyler Conklin's, but the draft picks, man, that's what kills me when we have a good draft pick.
Yep.
Because with this team, we're not really hitting on all these picks like Zach, Elijah Moore, Becton, Mims, James Moore. Like there's a lot of picks that the team has whiffed on these past couple of seasons. So to have a guy like that and he is performing, I just don't want to run the risk of seeing him leave like a Bryce Huff situation.
Yeah, and see, like you're the butt scenario you went through. My butt is different. Joe Douglas could say Hassan Reddick is a better player today, and my response would be Bryce Huff is young and getting better every year. He's a much younger player and is developing and growing every year. Reddick has probably he's already reached his ceiling. You know what Reddick is at this point. He's not going to become TJ Watt next year. You know what he is. Huff is still growing into his body, growing into his player, into his abilities. So he's getting better every year, and he's still younger. So to me, it's like you got a guy that's ascending, a guy that's going to be plateauing or on his way down. So I don't know, like the money, they're walking such a fine line of this because the money is going to be, if it's a 3-year deal and you start comparing Huff to Reddick, it's going to be hysterical, dude. Especially the Jets, like, oh, we really couldn't afford, we couldn't put that much money in the defensive line. We couldn't do this, we couldn't do that. They have to backtrack all of that talk to justify this new contract for a player they traded for.
Dude, that's kind of like a weird place to kind of put my mind in. For me, it's like thinking about like Reddick signing, like news comes out, right? Reddick signs like a 1 or 2 or potentially 3-year contract. And he's just like at the facility and he's, going through the press conferences and whatnot. I mean, I'm sure, it's going to be awesome for coaches and teammates,
Yep.
And fans to see this guy like light up QBs every Sunday. But I wonder if there's already friction between his camp and the front office with the team.
It's got to be.
Because he's obviously aware of these stories that are being, reported.
Well, dude, think about it. The Jets right now are leaking stories like crazy. And there's been really no response other than don't believe everything you read. That's been the response. Like if I was Reddick, you know what I would have did? I'm a prick, dude. I'm not gonna lie. I'm a jerk. What I would have did what Ayuk is doing in San Francisco. I would have showed up. I would have reported today, showed up, so I don't get fined $50,000. But yeah, I'm not practicing. My toe hurts, dude. My back's a little bit tight that I can't practice. I'm in your building, right? I can't get fined. I'm here. And I can meet the media too. Oh, I'll answer any question you want. Now my back's kind of a little tight today. Can't practice today. Maybe tomorrow. Not today. Because now the Jets thing right now is we won't negotiate unless he's in the building. All right, I'll come to the building.
That's another thing,
dude,
man.
Dude, One Jets Drive is beautiful, dude. I've been there many times. Gorgeous facility. Nice grass. It's sunny outside. I'll come to practice. Sunglasses, shorts, t-shirt. I'll watch every practice all you want to not get fined and sit here and not practice until you pay me. That's what I would do. Why get fined, dude? Just show up and just hang out. Then what are they? What's their excuse then? Well, he's here, but we can't get a deal done. What's your next excuse then?
Dude, it's an interesting, that whole like wrinkle of this whole thing, which was that the Jets aren't going to negotiate with somebody who isn't there. And if Reddick saves the money, I guess that could be a realistic option. I mean, Jalen Ramsey did that to the Jaguars and kind of like forced the Jags to trade him to the Rams, like all those years ago, where Ramsey was saying that his back, he just wasn't good enough to play.
That's it.
And then gets traded to the Rams and is good to go. So
imagine, but wouldn't you do that though? Think about it though. Right now you're getting paid because you didn't show up. You show up, you take your physical, you're healthy, you're fine. Then you wake up in the morning, man, my neck is tight. My neck feels terrible this morning. I can't practice today, coach. Sorry. I'll watch. I'll sit here. I'll answer any question you want. Then the pressure, that's even more pressure on the Jets because now he's actually in your building. That's a true distraction then because now he's here and you're not paying him and he's not practicing.
Yeah, well, the whole negotiation thing is now, irrelevant because he's there and, according to this report, he has to be there to negotiate. So I don't know, man. Like, I feel like in a week from now, he'll be signed.
I hope so.
Are you in on that or are you more?
I think the Jets hate terrible press and they hate what's going on right now around the building where it's just like there's so much excitement. They're trying to sell tickets, they're trying to build the hype around this team. And this is a negative. Look at the chat. It's a negative thing right now where everybody's taking sides and nobody's happy about it. They want to get rid of this stigma, like the stench of all this negative, just like get a deal done. And the more it carries out, the worse it's going to be because it's a slow time in sports. It's like there's not really a lot going on in baseball, but it's not really big stories. So this is going to be front and center. So I think they get something done. I don't know how, but I think Woody Johnson sees it, and they got to do something, man.
Yeah, Grant. So does the agent have to be in the building as well for the Jets to negotiate? Man,
But
it's such a strange, like murky situation, bro. Like I don't even know what to say to this point. Like I feel like it's being talked about so much, like all day, and it's not going to be stopping anytime soon. The only time it's going to stop is when there's a contract extension that's signed, or if nothing. I mean, I guess that's the only outcome, right? Or
yep,
Reddick just holds out the entire camp,
yep,
gets fined 50K a day for what, a month
month.
before the season starts, little over a month before the season starts, and then just suits it up and plays week one and with no practices under his belt. Like that's a crazy situation. But I mean, I guess it's a reality if
Yep.
like that's the alternative to him not signing.
Well, the other thing too is something that you mentioned earlier, which is a really good question. Is you got to think his first taste of the Jets is them leaking all these stories all over social media, like that, like or all over the news. It's like, okay, you traded for me, okay, and we agree, whatever. And right off the bat, all these stories about his contract came out endlessly, which he knows they're leaking them. So the agent's got to be like, this team, like this, is how they want to play. They want to play hardball. We'll play hardball too. So their first taste of the Jets isn't positive either with all this nonsense, especially going on today with all the just constant leaks about the contract. It used to be like, oh, we buttoned everything up. There's no more leaks in the media. Then today it was like, oh, we look bad. We got to cover our ass real quick. So it can't be a good taste for him for his first taste for the Jets.
It's interesting. I wonder who the agent is. I might,
Isn't CAA? No, who is it? I thought, who is it? I knew this.
dude, because in basketball, man, like that's where the agents control, like, the agencies for the superstar players and whatnot in the NBA. Like you have to stay on these guys' good side, you know. But in football, I don't know. Maybe it's a little bit
Well, Joe
different.
Douglas had a reputation to be a tough ass for a little while there. He was always like a tough negotiator and always stood by his line. Like he had a number he wanted to stick to and never go above it. But I think he may be tested here because now it's his job's on the line too. Let's be honest. He knows what's at stake here too. Like they have to have a very good year this year, including with Reddick on a team, to keep their jobs. Anything less than 9 wins, they're all out of here anyway. So there's pressure on him too to get this done, man. Because it's not a good look for him either.
Another. Bro, the longer we talk about this, the more like it's like an onion. Like it's the more things to talk
That's what
about.
we're here for.
But dude, like here's something that's just super obvious, like super black and white. Who, like, if you're the Jets and you really want Hassan Reddick enough to where you're trading away a pick for him because he's not even a free agent. So you obviously want him. You obviously think he's going to fit the system and help the team out. Players obviously respect him given his production. I mean, we heard from CJ Mosley today talking about him.
Yep.
He's a good player. Like, why wouldn't the team want to go out and extend him? That should be a positive. That should be a good thing, unless Reddick is asking for like 35 million, like some absurd number. But then it's just like, okay, well, then you got to meet us in the middle. And like I said, I don't really know any of the details, but
no. Then you don't trade for him. Like that number is discussed before you traded for him. Like you literally say, okay, listen, we know you're unhappy in Philadelphia, where you grew up. He grew up an Eagle fan. He's from that area, dude. You're not happy here where this is your home. You have no guaranteed money. What will make you happy if you come to the Jets? What kind of contract are you looking for? If he says, you know what? I want $26 million a year for the next 3 years. All right. Well, that's not in our budget. Not trading for you. Done. Like, right? That's like, how hard is this conversation to have? Do you honestly think he said when they first talked, you know what? I just want $19 million a year. Then once they trade with John Franklin Myers, you know what? I want $25 million a year. I have a funny feeling he said right up front what he wants. Why would he lie? This is what I want. This is where I'm standing at. Right? Do you think he changed his tune? Like, I see that story a lot. Like, oh no, he told the Jets one thing, he changed his mind. I don't think so, man. I think they knew all along, but they're just surprised they couldn't get a deal done. Like, where do you stand with that?
I mean, I guess. Well, the whole thing for me, it's like I don't even think you can negotiate a contract if you like prior to the trade being official.
But you could talk about what he wants.
Yeah, you can get a feel of, okay, what is this player going to be asking for on his new extension? But it's not a situation where he's saying, all right, it's not like a direct line like Reddick and his agent talking directly to
Yeah,
Joe
but
Douglas, and they're like, all right, you know what, this is cool. Let's pull the trigger and now we'll trade. Like that to me, like that should be.
But you have to know the ballpark of what he's looking for. You're not getting blindsided where it's like, oh, all right, we thought we had a good discussion here, but you know what? Boom. Now you want double what you said. I don't think that ever happened. I think they know in the air what he wanted, and when they felt comfortable, they all right, we can handle this. I'm comfortable with this. I don't think he changed his tune like in May. So, you know what? I want more money now. I don't think that happened, dude. Maybe I'm just naive. Maybe I side with the player too much. I don't like the way it's being handled for some reason. I don't know why.
It's really crazy to think about, like, if we just like traded for Reddick and like the news came out like a week later that, you know, we're just gonna extend him, 2-year, 44 million. Everybody would be pumped.
We expected it.
And he'd be at training camp and doing the press conferences, and we'd see him in a Jet uniform and stuff like that. Like, he is, again, like, not just hyping him up here. He's literally one of the best pass rushers, the most consistent pass rushers in the game. Whenever you can bounce around to go from Arizona to Carolina to Philly, it just produce every year, changing coaches, changing teammates. Some teams have a good defensive line, some teams don't, but your numbers stay the same. That is extreme value. And then now you're factoring him with the Jets defensive line, like Quinnen coming up from the inside, the rotation that they do. So Reddick is never going to be gassed. He's never going to have to, get double teamed. I mean, occasionally he might get double teamed, but it's not like, okay, we got to just double Reddick because he's the only pass rushing option. No, you can't do that.
So I got a question.
Coming up. Yeah, hit me.
Would you rather have Reddick 1 year, 20 million, all guaranteed, or the contract Bryce Huff got? Bryce Huff under his contract with the Eagles, or Reddick 1 year, 20 million here?
Are you talking about this season at 14 and then 1 year at 20?
No. In order to get Reddick in the building and get him happy and satisfied, you give him 1 year, 20 million, fully guaranteed, or you can keep Bryce Huff for the contract he got with the Eagles.
Yeah, I would have just re-signed Bryce Huff because you also get to keep the draft pick, and you're younger at the position, and you're sending a message to the locker room like, hey, there is a pathway here to where if you grow and develop with us, like there's a big contract waiting on the other end, as opposed to like this weird uncertainty. If you're a guy like Michael Carter, and we're entering the final season of his rookie contract, so he's hardly being paid anything to NFL standards, and he's performing like a top slot wide receiver, and the extension talks haven't even begun. Yep. It's like, am I going to be the next Bryce Huff? Because Huff did mention a couple times on his way out of on his way out of New York here, that like it didn't really sound like he was like begging to be back. It kind of felt like listening and reading these interviews with Huff. He's just like, no, it kind of reached a point where he was like, I want to see what else is out there, as opposed to maybe if you were to ask him before the season starts, on where things stand.
I think it was a playing time thing with him too. I think he wanted to play more. I think Saleh's platoon was driving him crazy, where he wanted to get more chances to be on the field, and it just showed he could really do as a player against the run and against the pass. The Jets were worried about him against the run, so it's it's interesting. Again,
I mean, this is just kind of like a complete assumption on my part, but I think that was a factor in it. I don't think that was the driving 100%. Force. Like, get me the hell out of here because I need to be on the field. Like, if he got the same exact dollar for dollar deal from the New York Jets midway through the season, he probably would have signed it.
You would think. I would hope.
I don't
know, man. We just talked about Reddick for 45 minutes, which is just crazy. But I just can't believe this is what we're talking about today. I would have talked about so many other things, but it's a big story, though. It's all over, the news here. It's just crazy.
Yeah. Sir, where did the JFM money go? Yeah, dude. I mean, he gets traded to Denver and immediately takes a pay, like restructures his deal.
Yep.
Which was interesting. And then I think he actually responded to somebody on Twitter and saying that like the Jets didn't offer him anywhere close to what the Broncos offered him, which is already a pay cut.
Yep.
So it kind of maybe goes back to it goes back to maybe just the idea that the Jets just don't want to invest a lot of money in the pass rusher position right now because, again, you can point to Clowney's deal with the Panthers. You can point to Huff and JFM and, this whole situation with Reddick. And also, too, like Jermaine and Will McDonald, they're on like cheap rookie deals, albeit their first round rookie deals. But still, grand scheme of things, pass rushers are getting paid a ton. Gangrene, what's up, man? How's it going?
What's up, David? Yeah, but I mean, it's a fair point. It's like, the Jets were kind of, I don't know, frugal with certain things, then spend the money somewhere. Michael Carter II, you can put the money elsewhere. Extend DJ Reed, extend Conklin. Like, there's other things you can do. Like, you got to be proactive, man. It's going to be interesting to see how this plays out because if you have to guarantee more money, that's going to take away from other resources on your team. If you have to say guarantee $18 million a year to get him in the building, which may be more than that. That could be a guy you want to sign. That could be offensive line depth if you want to go out and sign McGovern or something else. So this puts him in an interesting spot.
What was the number that you were just throwing around? 19 million for who? Reddick?
Yep.
I'm gonna look up the top or the highest paid defensive ends real quick just to get a feel.
Probably 30 million. It's got to be, dude. They're getting enormous money right now. That's why, I don't blame him, dude. He's making 14.5 in a market that's paying tremendous amount of. It's crazy more, probably double. It's got to be,
dude. These guys are getting paid a ton, man. Let's see. Okay, so I'm gonna try to
20 million. Watch.
Yeah, I'm trying to pull it up, trying to share the screen, but all these articles are paywalled. Give me a sec here.
It's gonna be fascinating to see how they handle this.
Yeah. Okay, so the number one the highest paid on an annual rate is Nick Bosa at 34 mil. Number two, Josh Allen at 28.25. Brian Burns, bro, at 28.2. TJ Watt, 28. Let me share my screen real quick. Share screen.
He's at 14.5, not guaranteed. I don't blame him, dude.
This should work. Okay, cool. Yeah, let's see. Okay, yeah, so where do we leave off? TJ Watt, 28. Myles Garrett, 25. Montez Sweat, 24.5. He got paid last year. Daniil Hunter just got paid. Rashawn Gary just got paid. Max Crosby. Bradley Chubb, 22. So if you want to give Reddick 19, by the numbers, Reddick is, I would say, a top 10, top 12 pass rusher in football.
Yep.
19, man, that's pretty, that's affordable. Again, unless Reddick is asking for 30 mil or 28 mil, it's a little different. But you got to say you have no 14.5 not guaranteed. It's got to be like 19 or 20 million guaranteed for the year or something. If you don't want to give him 2 years, you got to really up the ante on this one to get him in the building, right? Or it's got to be like, all right, we'll give you 15 million guaranteed this year and whatever next year. I mean, it's got to be something, right? But the other thing is, how much cap space do the Jets have? They even afford this? I mean, they'll have to start renegotiating people and restructuring guys, right? Because they don't have enough cap space. So you're basically talking about for this season?
Yep, this year.
Well, the money would just be tacked on to the 14 mil.
Yeah, so if you add another 6 million to it, that's gonna wipe it out. That could be your depth. That could be that could be a Connor McGovern if you want to bring him back. That could be his contract in there somewhere.
Yeah, but my kind of thought process was you're gonna be giving Reddick an extension. So he's gonna play this year on a $14 million, 14.2, whatever it is, fully guaranteed. And then next year he's still gonna be a Jet for 22 or 23.
Man, a good point. That could be Devontae Adams money too. Good point.
Oh, yeah. That's true.
How do they get in this situation, man? This is just wild. And you figure he's got to be considered. He's his stats are crazy. 27 sacks in 2 years, 51 over the last 4. His stats, sack-wise, compare with anybody. He's legitimately a top 15 pass rusher. So the money that we're talking about is not ludicrous. It's really the market. If he was a free agent going into free agency like this year, he'd get that money. Even at 29 years old.
Yeah, dude. I mean, if he is, bro, yeah, if Hassan Reddick was, out there as a free agent, maybe not right this second, but like
Look
when
at
the
the
window,
stats are ridiculous.
yeah, when the window initially opened up, bro, he would be getting a ton of money, a ton of money.
And
I
and
mean,
the one
11, 16. And by the way, dude, you look at the combined tackles, like that, those are up there too, man.
Yeah, and he's high for tackles for loss too, like tackles behind the line of scrimmage. He's good at that too. The other thing too, it's like if I'm him, I don't want to play out this year and earn my contract next year. I've already earned it, right? I saw somebody like, oh, listen, like the Jets, like he'll just play out this year and see what he can make next year. I've already made it. Like I made my money. I've earned that check. I want to make it now, and I think he's justified by asking for it. I don't blame him. I don't blame him at all. This is a business, man.
Well, dude, check out the quarterback hits here as well. 23, 26, 18, 16.
Yep.
In these 4 seasons with the double-digit sacks.
Yep.
So,
look at tackles for loss. Look at that. What, 12, 11, 13?
Yeah, 15, 12, 11, 13.
It's an impact player, man.
Bro, he had 5 forced fumbles in 2022. And yeah, dude, another underrated thing about Hassan Reddick, man, he freaking plays. He's never hurt. Like last 3 years, he played every game started every game of the season.
That's what I'm saying. That's why if you're in his boat that he's in right now, last year's contract, no guaranteed money, I want to be paid. Guarantee me my money because I know I may not get another big payday. And the one thing is like the one person I was saying, well, just let him play out the year. If he has like a 5-sack year, God forbid a 5-sack year, he's not going to make that $25 million a year next year. He's going to be 30 years old. He wants to strike now while his stats are hot. You know what I mean?
Yeah, dude. But I think what's wild is like, I envision Reddick having a monster season because I think of the Jets defensive line, and granted, Philly has a great defensive line, but man, dude, when I'm thinking about Hassan Reddick with the amount of talent, with the coaching on this Jets defense, it's going to be like, I could easily see Reddick getting 16 sacks, 17 sacks.
Well, then if you think that, then if you're him, it's like, okay, I'll take the 1-year deal. I want like the guy said, 25 million guaranteed for 1 year. Then you think I'll pay me more and I'll bank on myself thinking in this defense, I'm going to thrive and I'll sign somewhere else next year off my 15 sack season.
But the problem is with that, if you're Reddick, is that he probably he's been in this mindset because he wants the extension.
Yep.
Damn, did you hear that on the mic?
Yeah.
Bro, lightning bolt just came right outside my
That was a lightning bolt?
Damn, yeah, that was crazy. I'm surprised I didn't lose power.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But Grant, so I mean, you make a really good point. And the Jets traded Zach Wilson, and we traded JFM, and the cap went up by $30 million this season too. So on top of all that stuff, it's
CJ Mosley took a pay cut too.
It's the dead money. That's the Jets are third in the NFL in dead money with Dwayne Brown and
Carl Lawson.
Yeah, all these, and also to all these contract restructures. Uzama, at the time it's like, okay, cool, they're saving like a couple $1 million here and there against the cap, but because like all these guys are, not all, but most of these guys are off the team. Some of these like weird signings that just didn't work out for whatever reason, injuries, bad play, what have you.
Yeah.
So, oh yeah, it's another thing. Lazard's contract. Yeah, it's another double digit. So I think at the end of the day, dude, the Jets are going to be fine. I think Reddick will be back by the next time we do this show. That's my prediction.
So what's your prediction? How do they handle it?
I'm going to say they max out his guarantee money this year. So 14 something, potentially raise it. I think he gets incentives as well. 15 sack mark, pay bump, that kind of situation. And I wouldn't rule out a 1-year tack on to his deal. Yeah. A 1-year extension, which I'm cool with. Because again, it's not like he's 39 and he only has like a year left. And another thing too, like you don't trade for a guy if you like, are you really going to give up a conditional 3rd round pick that jumps to a 2nd to play on like a prove it contract deal? Yep. I don't know. Like I think the Jets, and like knowing how JD likes to operate, maybe he just would have preferred to sign just like a random veteran pass rusher on like a 1-year $4 million, 1-year $6 million, and just kind of say, all right, well, He's gonna have a lot of great teammates around him. We're gonna, do the rotation anyway. Plus Saleh and Ulbrich coaching and calling plays.
Yep.
Now we're in this huge predicament. So I'm not sure. And then John, bro, thank you so much, man. Really not trying to be pessimistic, but if things go bad to start, how long do you give Saleh? It's a win now year. You can't let his apathetic attitude sink the season. First off, man, I appreciate the $10, bro. It means a lot. I think I'm gonna say 1-4. I think things start heating up big time because we have a pretty favorable, from a opponent standpoint, pretty favorable schedule this season. Last year was harder, and we have a much better team this year with Tyron Smith and John Simpson and Moses coming back. I think Malachi Corley added to the mix. Like, we have a better football team because a lot of the guys that we brought in last year, they just didn't work out. Like Lazard, Dalvin Cook, Adrian Amos. Like, there's so many guys that just kind of flamed out really quickly. Then you have the whole Zach Wilson thing, but
I think I think it's like 5 or 6 games, and they fire him and let Ulbrich coach the team the rest of the year because they're super high on Ulbrich. I think that's exactly the move they'll do. You can't wait. 5 or 6 games in, if this team is completely underachieving, look lackluster, lifeless, not playing up to their standard, he's canned. Ulbrich takes over, and they move on and try to make a run with him.
But John, bro, I appreciate the 10, man. Thank you. Gangrene, what's up, dude? But Ian, that's what they offered him, and they declined it. This entire situation now revolves around Reddick showing up to camp, and who knows when that'll be. Well, that's kind of what's being reported, not from Reddick's side. So I think things would be a lot different if Reddick didn't put out that tweet on June 12th, which was, don't believe everything you see. I mean, you guys, like, the media is making,
and he was right.
They're pretty much running with storylines. I think I got another lightning strike coming in here, or another thunderbolt. All right, I think I'm good.
But he was right, though, dude. He was right. He literally said, because the report was he agreed to play under his current contract with the Jets, and it's been proven that the Jets offer him a new contract. So that report wasn't true, and he said that. Like, don't believe everything you read. And that's exactly why he said that, because that report wasn't true. He didn't agree to play under his current contract. He doesn't want to do that. So,
but also, too, if he was totally fine just playing on the non-guaranteed money, not only would that just be the biggest steal probably in the NFL, you're getting one of the best pass rushers on a $14 million 1-year non-guaranteed deal. That's like an amazing, like, the only situation that could beat that is a rookie contract.
100%.
Not some guy who's 29 years old who's proven year after year after year after year in the NFL. And then secondly, he'd probably still be on Philly if he was just totally fine being on the 1-year contract, if he declined the pay increase. So that's kind of my thoughts there.
I agree.
But yeah, dude, I mean, I think the entire episode was the Son Reddick situation. But yeah, as Jay is saying, back to football. Hopefully, man. So I think I don't know if this was on stream or off stream, but you said that practice is tomorrow. First practice.
I think practice is tomorrow. Yeah. So by the time we do our next show, but was all kinds of on the field stuff too. So hopefully the Reddick story is resolved, and we have all the actual practice news and notes, which is gonna be great. The most important thing is get everybody healthy, get the offensive line playing, all 5 playing at the same time, get Mike Williams practicing, and then we'll see what happens. But yeah, we're back, man. Football's back, Ian. Doesn't feel like it tonight. We're both stressed out a little bit, but we'll be all right.
Dude, no, I mean, bro, I think the Jets will be fine. With Reddick, without him, I think the Jets will be great. But with Reddick, we're talking about a whole different beast on the defense side of the football.
Yeah, but you want him, like, with Reddick in a full camp. Like, you want him here for at least 3 weeks of camp, in the preseason, learn his teammates, learn the defense, not hold out the entire camp. Like, all right, I'm here week 1. Don't want to see that, man. That's recipe for disaster.
Yeah, I agree. I don't even think I could deal with the amount of, like, negative press that would come with him just skipping every single day. And that would be a topic every single day. Saleh has to answer that question every day in practice. Like, dude, in the mornings, like, any update on Reddick? Nope. Any update on it'd be a JD question.
No, but it was like we're all like, the rookies already reported. So like the team reported today. I'm all excited. And the minute I saw the Schefter tweet I'm like, dude, it was just a matter. It was like clockwork. My phone starts lighting up. Same old Jets, loser Jets, clown show. Like, it's like, I just want to be done with this. Get Reddick in camp. We can all just have one happy camp where we're just like, you know what? One of the best teams in the AFC. Stay healthy. Let's see what we can do. Like, I want the negativity to go away, man. Or like the uncertainty, the unknown, the criticism. Let's get over this already.
So Sir God, I'm gonna say the biggest. Let's see, which team on our schedule poses the biggest threat to our defense. I'm gonna say probably, if I had to guess, I'd probably say Miami because they've had success against because it's not the Bills because Josh Allen like folds when he plays Robert Saleh. San
49ers?
Francisco maybe, but I mean Saleh knows what Shanahan likes to do offensively. He kind of knows, the tendencies, the game planning, play calling tendencies. So I don't necessarily want to say San Francisco either. Houston can be an interesting one, but again, that's another San Francisco tree coaching staff. Dude, one team I'm kind of thinking about, like they keep on making these moves, man.
Houston,
Tennessee.
Really?
Bro, they have a bunch of like random vets mixed with like their young players. So they got like DeAndre Hopkins. They signed Tyler Boyd. They picked up Snead from the Chiefs at corner.
Yeah.
They just signed Jamal Adams. Like
you like the quarterback though?
I think he has a lot of potential. And then if you kind of start reading the tea leaves with Callahan and his development with Joe Burrow, and going from an offensive coach or going from like Vrabel and those guys to this offensive minded coach who's worked with young quarterbacks. Calvin Ridley's another one. Like I feel like the Titans are kind of like not necessarily a sleeper, but a team that's just they're making these veteran moves and they're just kind of Saleh will find a way to lose to Will Levis. I mean, Saleh does have some solid wins under his belt, like Philly, like Buffalo, Buffalo multiple times.
He lost to Aiden O'Connell.
Don't bring it up, man. Don't bring it up. But dude, bro, in the defense of Robert Saleh, he does do pretty good job against big time quarterbacks, man. Like Mahomes, Herbert, Allen,
Jalen
Hurts.
Yep.
I'm trying to think of the quarterback that really like. I mean, I guess Dak Prescott did his thing last season in week 2. He controlled CJ Stroud as well last season. Granted, it was like monsoon, but who are the Titans running backs? Tony Pollard, and that's who I think is going to be the starter.
I think so too.
He drafted JC Latham in the top of round 1, top 10 pick. I don't know. Titans are just kind of a team that I think is, I don't know, just I guess maybe a team to keep your eye on. But dude, that's going to be it for me, man.
Yeah, I mean, we spent an hour talking about this whole Reddick situation, which is crazy. So then next week we could talk about real football, like real, hopefully on the field stuff, and just start analyzing this very exciting season.
Most definitely, man. Most definitely. So yeah, that's gonna do it for us, man. Thanks so much for tuning in, hanging out. Tuesdays, 7:00. Pretty much gonna be going, 45 minutes to an hour, maybe an hour and a half on busier days or busier weeks rather. From here on out until I don't even know how long. So long time. But thanks so much, guys. I appreciate it. And yeah, as always, go Jets.